Oh, we're live?
Yeah.
It's all done.
Welcome, everyone, to the 10K Run podcast. My name is Amos Joseph, joined by my co-host, Brook Potter, who is in the UK. How's it going, Brook?
I'm doing all right, Amos. One second, let me just kill the stream there so I don't have two audios going on. I'm exhausted. In fact, our last podcast has brought me to the point where I need a drink, which is great because this is we just finished up with Religion Zero. Very spicy conversation. Definitely some differences of opinion.
Spicy.
Spicy. What do you got there? Sriracha sauce? Sriracha, right?
I was like, what do I got to drink?
I'm going to give them a quick plug. This is Celtic Wines. So I've just finished their.
Are we sponsored by them?
No, but I'm going to talk to them. Maybe we might be. When you open a bottle like this, you got to drink it within I think 14 days or something. So couldn't leave it hanging around. I'm enjoying. So this is the mead stream for those who are interested. I'll be, pretty much butchered by the end of it, hopefully. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Of course, another. I mean, we've talked about this. It's probably becoming a bit of a bad pattern, but I don't get much sleep on weekends. Surprisingly, like most people get a lot of sleep on the. Yeah, by choice, yes. Not by bad habits, like I said. So. But I managed to, do the streams, do the shows, and I think I probably as a result, like it's kind of a trade-off, like that just right amount of sleep deprivation with that just the right amount of fired up kind of really like brings in that, that tenacity, that sort of
right.
Not only am I fighting, sort of to do the stream, not like the stream's tiring, but it's like that sort of fighting against this sleep deprivation sort of invigorates me more to be like, energetic for the, show. So,
it does take a lot out of you. And I mean, we have basically 3 hours plus because we went along with Religion Zero. So I get it. It takes a lot out of you. I'll try and spice it up if I think you're getting weary and, throw some shade.
Last week, that was pretty much what happened was like, all right, we're going to throw in some Trump stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So
So we'll leave the Trump topic for the last to give you like that last boost of adrenaline to bring it home.
Let me tell you about why we need this, Actually, I just realized one of the legs. This is an older desk that I'm using, and one of the legs is having some problems. So either I got to get a new desk or I got to fix this desk. So if I hit too hard, I don't want to just
the whole thing collapse.
Going live on the floor, yeah.
Get in there, man. Oh, I just want to say for our viewers, I have upgraded my necklace. I still have Thor's hammer. It's right here, right? So this is Thor's hammer. It's very nice. It's actually carved out pretty nice. But yes, somebody was very generous enough to send me Gungnir, which is the spear of Odin. And I'm upgraded from Thor to the All-Father, so I feel very comfortable about that. So thanks to my sponsor who's giving me this fantastic jewelry. If they want to keep sending it, I'm all game for that, man. Keep it coming.
So, speaking of sponsors.
Wash your balls.
The 10K Run podcast is sponsored by... No. Tacticalsoap.com makes some of the best soap that I've ever used. I use it all the time ever since I got it. It's not just some gimmick that's, I mean, there is the whole, pheromones and such. I don't believe that to be a gimmick, but it's not supposed to be a gimmicky thing. Like, oh, you buy the thing and you feel whatever. It's actually good soap. There's some of them that are more made for like, good for scrubbing. Some are good for smelling good. Others are just good for all around feeling clean. It's all, I think it's pretty much
all of the above.
All of the above, basically. And it's, it's good for your nuts. So go to tacticalsoap.com, enter in the coupon code 10KRUM. That's the numbers 1 and 0, the letter K, then RUM, just like we do it on the show. That gives you 10% off and a kickback to the show. That's one way to support it. And of course, just to insert this in between this one and the next announcement, subscribing to the channel also helps us through views, through just staying up to date with us, and also catching the stream in case the rare occurrence there's something that you catch that's on the stream that's on the podcast, which almost never happens, but you never know. Occasionally, yeah. You know, I drop a hard R on
hard R. I've done a hard R. Yeah, I've done a couple of them.
A hard R, you know, cars and jars and.
Oh, I'll drink to that.
And yeah, a lot of hard R's with the cars, and I'm just kidding. No. Like subscribing to the channel, leaving a like, leaving a comment, sharing the show with someone you think that'll enjoy it. But also, this is where you might get actually some of the hard R's. Now, we don't actually say that word, just so everyone's clear. We don't say it anywhere on any of our media.
Yeah, please don't cancel us, please.
Please don't. please don't. By the way, just a quick reminder, guys, racism is bad.
Racism bad.
We're both serious, but also the way, yeah. Anyways, we're serious about that. It's racism bad. So, Subscribestar is another way you can support the show, where you go to the website, subscribestar.com/shitlord-preachers. That's a way where you can support the show on a monthly basis. Anything from literally as little as $1 a month to as much as $25 a month. There's different increments. It gives you different perks. The $1 gets you into our Discord. That's pretty cool already. I mean, we're still working on that one. $5 gets you our raw takes, where basically you get the equivalent of a hard R level of transparency, content uncensored and stuff. Once again, anyone who's seen us on there will attest to the fact that we don't, we're not doing any actual hard R. It's just like raw takes. It's really what it is. Stories, some topic that we're we really want to get out there to the audience, that we think would would appreciate like a more sort of, I don't know, up close and personal kind of talk kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Didn't
we do like a review? Did we do a couple of private reviews and stuff like that? I can't remember if we did.
We've done some reviews
privately.
I mean, yeah. I know we've done on our show, like the regular show, we've done some like special TV shows and such. Like, for example, like how I want you to watch The Boys.
Right.
They just came out with season 2, and it's weird. They released 3 episodes of that. And then they're going to do 1 episode a week every Friday. So kind of a weird, whereas before they just released the whole thing.
Right.
I think that might have something to do with COVID.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Just
I mean, we were supposed to do one on Joker. We never did that one on Joker.
No, we did.
No, we didn't. We never did. We were supposed to do one on Joker. We did the one on Picard. We never did Joker.
Oh shit! That was like last year.
I know. It was around the time of the COVID and stuff. We were on break, and we never got around to that. And we did a dedicated thing for Picard. We went through the whole thing.
We were on break. We came back. Then COVID happened.
Yeah. So we blame the bug. I'm sure the stream is going to go down any minute now. So,
yeah. So, but yeah, $25 a month, of course, goes to the Enigma. No,
the top tier.
The top tier. Edmundo, being one of our top tier guys, gets a shout out every time we talk about this. He is one of our patrons at $25 a month on our Subscribestar page. So do check that out. Look at the different perks. And of course, as we go forward with getting more people, those will develop to give people more perks as we go on. So thanks for that, guys. We have a list of topics, and we're really trying to stick to this now a lot more. We want to give you guys more quality on the show. What's our first topic, Brook? I know we briefly touched on one. We actually had to stop ourselves because we're like...
Yeah, we were giving away the goods before the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been an interesting week for entertainment. So we're probably going to touch on a couple of those things. We had Bill and Ted's... when was it The Sound of Music or whatever the fuck the third Bill and Ted has come out with. Nobody really cares. We have the controversy, which is Mulan and all the shit that's going on with that.
So
have you been up to date on
I
what's been going
haven't
on with
watched
Mulan?
it because I didn't want to blow that kind of money. Well,
I mean, it is a waste of fucking money, man.
so it was something like you have to get Disney Plus,
Which is like what,
then you have to
eight?
rent the then you have to get the movie itself separately.
Yes, which was $30. So you pay what, $7, maybe $8 for the subscription to Disney Plus.
So it's nearly $40 to watch a
Then
movie.
$30 to buy, $20 to rent in certain geographical locations. So some places got, I think China didn't get it yet.
Wow, a movie about China didn't get a movie about.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that because this is where the shit is hitting the fan, right?
So, well, yeah, I've seen a few people already talking about watching it, and from what I've gathered so far is the fact that, that's it. Just
Yeah, it's meh. It's kind of,
yes. And yeah, it's just it doesn't. It didn't go anywhere.
It's actually worse than the original, from what I understand.
Oh, I mean, most of the time the original is way better, anyways.
Yeah. It didn't have the fun characters of, was it Mushu and the cricket?
Yeah, and
none of the music.
I didn't hear if they did any like SJW, I'm a woman, like did. as if Mulan being a woman that saves China wasn't already pretty empowering enough. We got to make it even more.
No, they did. They absolutely did.
Did she have a girlfriend?
No. It wasn't that. And so, I mean, the original Mulan, I remember watching it. And in fact, I had a Chinese girlfriend at the time. And, after watching Mulan, I was like, my girlfriend seemed that much hotter to me at the time. But I mean, it's such an endearing story. It's a fantastic story. There's nothing particularly special about Mulan from what was it, 1998, when the animated story came out. She self-sacrifice for her dad to save her dad's life. She puts on the armor, pretends to be a guy, joins the army on behalf of the family for the honor and all this different kind of stuff. And what they did in the original that apparently they didn't do. Now, I admit I haven't seen it, but from the reviews that I've been hearing, in the original, she kind of sucked at being in the army. When she first got there, she couldn't like lift the weights and she couldn't climb, and she wasn't very good at bow and arrow, and she had to learn. She had to learn to get better and be part of the army and the team and all this different kinds of stuff.
Right.
Not so in the remake. In the remake, she has an exceptional level of chi that basically is the metachlorians in Chinese culture. And she's basically a Rey from Star Wars, a Mary Sue, where not only is she the best woman that could ever have joined the army, she's the best fucking warrior the army ever has from day one. Wow. That's what they did. That's what they did to her.
That's some WAP.
Yeah, that's very moist. It's very, very moist.
No, it's just whack.
Yeah, it's
whack ass pussy.
Yeah, it's like a friend of mine was saying, she actually watched it and she loved the original Mulan because, she's not an exceptional character. It's a girl determined. Her strength was her mind. She can outthink and, do all these different types of things. It was a relatable character. But now, what is the message of this movie? That you can do anything if you're the chosen one? Is that the message? Is that supposed to be like female empowering? Like you could only accomplish things if you're like, Superwoman? That's what they did. That's what the ultimate.
She must have had one of those spiritual crystals we talked about in Religion Zero.
It's and what ended up happening apparently, and spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, instead of learning how to be part of a team and all this different types of thing, the whole premise of it is that she has to stop lying about who she is. So in the middle of some battle, she whips off her garb and her hair falls and she's there and she exposes herself as a woman to reveal her full power. And just like out of Captain Marvel, her whole premise is, she has to stop holding back, stop lying about who you are and be who you are, and you're going to save China. That's kind of the shtick. And it's boring, apparently. There's no growth, there's no development, there's nothing. and they've made her into a Mary Sue. That's exactly what they did.
All I remember, you remember Chief O'Brien from Star Trek?
Yeah, it's the Irish gentleman.
Remember his wife?
Yes, she was Asian.
She plays the mother in Mulan, the new Mulan movie.
Oh, does she? Okay.
That's all I ever like in terms of like piquing my interest. I was like, oh hey, it's her name is Keiko O'Brien. Oh, that's it. Forget all the rest of that movie. I'm just like, hey, cool, nostalgia moment.
I feel sometimes like I was watching Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol yesterday because I had absolutely nothing fucking to do, and I saw Henry Cavill was in it, and I was like, oh, and there's nothing wrong with attaching an interest based on a character, but I mean, the controversy, right? Some of the controversy surrounding Mulan has been, well, first of all, now she is a icon for the alphabet people because apparently she's trans now. She's a woman dressed as a man.
Shit. Really?
So she's now part of, is that a trap? That's a trap, isn't it?
No, I mean, why wouldn't she be part of the drag community?
Well, isn't that what a trap is?
Well, trap is like, traps are gay.
Trap. Basically, isn't a trap a trans person who actually like has no surgery, no nothing, just dresses as the other sex? I think
it's essentially a cross-gender that identifies as transgender.
Right. So it's a cross-dresser who identifies.
Cross-dresser, not cross-gender.
Right. I'll drink to that. Yeah.
But there's, oh my gosh, but the big one though, I think, is even bigger than that. Like, yes. I mean, they're gonna make every character, I mean, fucking Lando was pansexual or whatever, and no one cared.
Correct.
You mentioned, so someone noticed this, and it was funny that Babylon Bee made a joke about this.
Very insightful.
I don't know if it was prophetic or if they caught that and then made that article. So Babylon Bee did a whole thing where, during one of the shots in the movie, you can see a Uyghur concentration camp in the background.
Right. That is the big controversy. I was going to save that for last, but yes.
They didn't actually, but that's not exact. They didn't see it in the movie.
It's where the concentration camps is where the movie was shot. Yes.
Oh, so it actually is.
Yeah, you don't see it, but yes, the location that the movie was shot.
Oh, I thought that was like just completely like a Babylon Bee having fun with a thing, No,
the Babylon Bee says you could actually see it in the background, but it's true. Where this was shot is where the Uyghur concentration camps are being held. So that's the truth of the scenario. Now, that is the big controversy. Before we get there, the one more thing that I thought was an absolute SJW shit show. If you know the original story, Mulan and the captain of the troop, they kind of have a relationship sort of thing develop, right? I can't remember. Mm-hmm. That was squashed because of the Me Too movement, and that reflected unhealthy power dynamics in the relationship. So the supposed quote unquote love interest is no longer the captain; it's just a fellow soldier in the platoon sort of thing.
Oh boy.
So that was the nod to the Me Too crowd. And the final controversy is just what you touched on. Not only was it filmed there, but at the end of the show, in the credits, there is actually Disney thanks various Chinese organizations that are directly involved in these Uyghur concentration camps. So much so, I think the coverage has been so bad in Asia. So I think Thailand is basically boycotting the film. I don't know if Japan, like a couple of Asian countries are boycotting it. And it's so intense. China has banned any media coverage of Mulan in China. The CCP has completely said you cannot cover this story whatsoever. So, if the worst marketing hit for Disney trying to get those, Chinese bucks, the worst possible thing could have happened has happened to them.
What's interesting is, so we talked, and I've talked to people about this. They tried to release the movie just before COVID.
Yeah, I remember that.
So if anyone goes and looks, now it'd be different. But if you looked a month ago at the movie coming out and what the box office was, the box office was like $800 or something,
Yeah.
under $1,000. It was the weirdest thing. This is like this official record. Ticket sales were on the books,
Right.
but the
Yeah.
box office couldn't stay open long. It was literally like some theater somewhere was open for maybe a day, and then COVID happened.
And yeah, they had
And
to
those
lock it
ticket
down.
sales were logged. So it was the funniest thing to see how this movie technically flopped.
Yes.
But then they held it back. They're re-releasing it now, which is why there's that huge price hike and all this whenever, I mean, I think there's more to that, but yeah. And then of course, here we are. So it would have been interesting if that movie came out then.
Yeah.
Because the controversy would definitely come up. But with all the other stuff, like how they've spread COVID, how China has been caught time and time again, with all these statistics and numbers and just
Lying about the numbers.
essentially being a large cause of why COVID is spread across the world.
Agreed. Yeah.
There would have been the brunt of that blow that they're now experiencing probably would have been less if the movie actually got to properly release and everything. Still bad, nonetheless. But anyway,
Yeah.
but this is kind of like a double whammy, just bad publicity for them.
Yeah, and China hasn't helped themselves with what's going on with Hong Kong. I know Hong Kong is boycotting the film as well. I think the lead actress, she's an American. I don't know if she's from Hong Kong or from mainland China. When the China was cracking down on Hong Kong, she put out some tweets kind of pro-China propaganda, and I don't think that won them any points either. I know recently Disney has been on a quest to kind of purge the SJW narrative because they've seen how it's fucked up their movies, their franchises. They're firing a whole bunch of writers and directors, all of these kind of far left individuals because it's not helping them.
Government censorship level Winnie the Pooh.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It's that level of censorship.
But it's too late. Like, Mulan is supposed to rescue Disney out of a very tough financial situation, right? Remember, all of their parks are closed. None of their movies are in production. None of their TV series. They've only had so many movies kind of in reserve sort of thing. So they have like 5 months, almost 6 months of no activity. And they've been borrowing money just to kind of stay afloat. So this was the movie that was supposed to save, the whole fucking empire, the Mouse Empire.
Yeah, because what was it? Black Widow is on hold.
Is on hold. I don't know if the WandaVision is going to be coming out. The Loki film. Of course, Star Wars is fucked.
Mandalorian, yeah. And then Disney talks. So I think, and then of course there's the rumors coming out that Disney might completely abandon their woke strategy and go back to just making movies that make money.
Yeah, that's. I put up an article like that just recently.
Yeah. And then there was another one about how there's talk of redoing the Rey saga-ish trilogy, whatever you want to call it.
No, not even redoing. It's not the Rage story. They actually want to fucking bypass the last 3 fucking episodes. They want to do a complete reboot from The Force Awakens and basically make all of that like an alternate.
No. From The Force Awakens or before Force Awakens.
They're wiping out the last 3 episodes and they're going to basically put that in an alternate reality.
Okay, so it would be basically pick up right after
Empire. Was it Return of the Jedi? So they'll be redoing, and it's too fucking late because one of your stars is dead, and I don't know how they're gonna get around.
They could kill her again.
Well, I mean, they've probably got her in digital. Carrie Fisher.
Kylo Ren killed her before the movie started.
Yeah, like that is literally the plan. They're bringing George Lucas in to fix the humongous fuck up.
Because I've heard there is like there are books of whole stories.
There's a whole universe.
Yeah, But anyways, so
Yeah,
yeah,
we got
yeah.
we got Red Crusader. Hey, welcome, bro. Good to have you with us, man. Hey,
Yeah.
Brian, what's happening, man? I'll drink to that. So the other movie that's come out that's been, making the talk of the town has been Cuties, which has finally been released on Netflix. Do we want to
So
touch on this steaming
we don't
pile
want
of
to
horse
touch
shit?
any. I was gonna say, yeah. Well, that's what we're touching about it. Not the. Sorry, pedophile joke. Probably not so funny. People get real touchy about that. Anyways,
But of the king, is it?
exactly.
No, dang! I thought that was the laugh. I thought that was the laugh track. I gotta fucking remember what button is what.
So, we gave our take on the initial outrage that came out of it, and we were just kind of like, everyone's like, I'm gonna cancel Netflix, outrage, outrage mob, and then we were just like, okay, I'm just gonna watch what I've been watching this whole time, which is everything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh,
I mean, you have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You just have what subscription level are you? How much you paying? Do you know?
Like $10 a month or something.
Oh, $10. Okay, so I'm doing 12 because I allow 4 people on mine
because
I have commitments. I have obligations. One of them is in Russia for some reason, but anyway.
Anyways,
so okay, we both have that. Are you going to watch the said Cuties?
I don't know if I want to. Just
I
don't know.
Zero interest for me.
So everyone else.
I'll drink to that.
Everyone else is outraged because the perceived message it's putting out there and all this stuff. So they're just kind of like oh, it's disgusting. I wouldn't even think of it. For me, I'm just looking at it purely as the value, not even just to critique it. I'm just like, no.
No, I agree.
Because because now that it's actually out and people have actually talked about it and seen it, and if there was even like, okay, it actually has a compelling story, it really has nothing to do with what everyone perceives it to be, it's completely blown, changed expectations, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's worth like a critique, like a watch to critique it.
Right.
But it's not even that. It's just like, oh, okay, it's there's some shock value, and that's about it. So, I think I want to quickly recap. So, the trailer came out, and it was a movie that actually had been out for a while. Yes. It was out since March. Yeah. It was out at the Sundance Film Festival. People had watched it. It was, some of the stuff I was hearing was, okay, it's about a girl growing up in a Muslim household who's kind of having this struggle between her Muslim conservative identity with her family versus the Western sort of identity of, wanting to break free and all this stuff. And there was like some dance thing she wanted to do. But then there's also like another subplot of her coming of age, not just the struggle with the culture, all this stuff. And really what it comes down to is kind of the what I was told it was about was, oh, it actually has a message that is actually against sort of this sexualization. Like
sexualizing. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, well, that's completely different than what everyone else thought it was, which was everyone was like, oh, it's just a movie of a bunch of kids twerking.
Yeah.
And whatever. And because, okay, so Netflix kind of dropped the ball on the marketing. They kind of didn't really, I think they were kind of probably following the direction of the director or whatever French person because it's a French movie.
Yes, it is a French movie.
They probably tried to follow the direction of, shock value, like get people to, which they did.
Yeah.
So now the movie's out. People have watched it. And mostly kind of there, not quite. Basically, what I got was, oh, yes, there's all these stories going on, but there's just an oddly higher than expected amount of scenes of girls twerking.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
people do critiques of it, and there are a couple clips that people are pulling out and they're saying, "Oh wow, this is disgusting" and stuff like that. And I agree, it is very disturbing to watch young girls doing very provocative things.
Right.
But at the same time,
Right.
I'm looking at the story, and just to summarize what I understand, yes, it's a Sudanese girl, I think, Muslim background, everything that you said there. She sees that her mother's husband has just brought in another wife, and she's very disheartened. Like, I'm a Muslim girl. This is my future. I'm not going to be happy because look at how my mom isn't happy. So she seeks to kind of break away from that, and she goes to one extreme, which is this dance troupe. And as you said, and yes, and I don't really want to see a bunch of 12-year-olds and shit like dressed provocatively and doing those dance moves. It's very disturbing. But in the end of it, apparently she doesn't even feel good about it. Like, she thought she was going to get all these likes and get all the attention from people by being that kind of character. And at the end of it, she kind of walks back to a more conservative, just kind of normal, everyday French girl. That's kind of the overarching thing. Not my story, not something I'm really concerned about. But yes, I understand it's provocative. And as we've discussed elsewhere, this is the French. The French, if you've been to France, or if you've even been to Japan, for instance, there are 12-year-old girls dancing in some of these places in France and in Japan and parts of Asia. And don't even get me started on South America. It's not my thing. And considering the amount of pedophilia that goes on in Hollywood and as a whole, that has been like a kind of an open secret for years. If I were to start going down this road of, I'm not going to watch this and that, and I'm going to subscribe to this, I'll never watch fucking TV ever again. I'll never go to the cinema again.
Yeah,
I'll never
you can never watch movies. Also, you better cancel. You better deactivate your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, and pretty much any other major social media service that you use. And you better I mean, because obviously, like, in terms of violate, I'm just going to be. This is more not interesting, more intense part of it. If you want to talk about like violating children and all this stuff, you better not buy any sort of clothing then.
Yeah, in some parts, you're quite right.
Depending upon the brand you buy and stuff like that, don't you dare talk about like, we're here to save the children if you're not going to stop buying any major brands that has sweatshops with kids making your clothes.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the problem with moral outrage and sort of this woke. Because I think in a way, would you agree it's almost like a woke of the right in some of these moral outrage things?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think the left is also kind of jumped on board with this, but in this one, yeah, I think it is a lot of the right. And I'm not saying rightly or wrongly. Yeah, I'm not particularly annoyed with this. I think this is rather disturbing and stuff like that. But I also do understand telling a story. Sometimes you do have to tell the dark sides of this. We discussed briefly about the movie that came out not that long ago called Noah, which was telling the story of Noah in the Bible and stuff like that. And how there's a very disturbing scene in that movie where basically everybody's drowning. All the animals are drowning, all the people are drowning, and they're banging on the ark from the outside, and they're going to die. It's a very dark and depiction of the reality of that story.
Yeah.
It's if you're not going to tell the story in a way where it's impactful, I understand it's not going to be a very interesting story.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like, I mean, that's probably very different. I'm thinking of like the Passion of the Christ.
Okay. But right. It wouldn't be the same if it didn't. I mean, that is gore, right? Watching somebody get beat to an inch of their life. That's very, I mean, that's an X rating in some parts of the world.
Yeah. There's some scenes in there where like I mean, this is not weird to kind of tell, but I just remember like the scene where Jesus is being whipped, and one of the first times he got hit by some whip that basically it hit, and then the whip stuck
in him. Yes. Yeah.
And then they had to like rip it back out to like whip again. And I was like, wow. I mean, there's a religious narrative that they're trying to kind of put out there, which, I think is valid, but it's just shock and sort of this intense emotion in movies and such is important, but it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Definitely, I'm not interested in this. I saw.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow ABBA and Preach. Do you watch their stuff? Do you know who they are? So
No.
there's these two black guys, and they basically do commentary, right? So they pull up a video, and the two of them
Right.
do a thing, and they got a lot of heat because they kind of took our approach of let's wait and see, let's see what it is, and
Yeah. And this is the thing is now that the movie is out and stuff, and like I was kind of giving a visual, so everyone also listening, I basically let's say the moral outrage that people got before, so the trailer was released, the poster was released, the moral outrage was like at 100, we'll say.
yeah,
And then the movie came out, and now people are watching it, and the moral outrage, there's definitely like cause for moral outrage. I get that.
yes, yeah,
So what I'm seeing is, okay, so your justifiable moral outrage to this movie should probably be at 50 right now.
yeah.
No, should be at 75. This is the better way of putting it. Is at 75. But because it's not at 50 and below, everyone's like, no, fuck it. It's still at 100.
Yeah.
Even though it's not proportionally like, oh, it's not as bad as we thought it was, but it's not as bad as we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So we're going to be just as outraged. And so more and more people were like, I'm canceling my Netflix. I'm canceling my Netflix. Everyone kind of jumped on board, like even, libertarians and all this. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard's going to cancel. Ted Cruz is going to cancel. We're going to put out a whole thing. And I thought, and I'm thinking, okay, in the interest of the free market and people's freedom to express themselves, sure, do what the heck you want.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to watch what I'm going to watch on Netflix, which does not include cuties in the slightest, because for me, it just doesn't seem like anything I would want to watch one way or the other.
Agreed.
It's like, it's not just because it exists in that library doesn't make me just go,
No, I agree.
Like I'm not sitting there like, I got to watch it because it's there. I mean, it's like, yeah, Netflix funded it. Netflix kind of is promoting it right now.
No. I think Netflix bought it. It won at Sundance. So
okay. We definitely got to be more clear. Netflix bought the rights to it and stuff. They're promoting it as if it's like their own. Like movies that Netflix releases, they slap the N on it.
Yeah. As a Netflix original. And a good example of that is, I don't know if you've watched the new release from Cobra Kai, which is the after telling of the Karate Kid narrative from 30 years ago. That originally started off on YouTube. YouTube did season 1 and season 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then Netflix bought it. And as you say, you go on Netflix now and you watch Cobra Kai, bang, Netflix original. It didn't start on Netflix. It started on YouTube.
Right. Same thing with Designated Survivor.
Designated was a CBS, so I think, a CBS franchise. So
and then, then they get a season 3 and under Netflix and everyone gets to cuss and swear all day.
Correct.
That was really dumb though. It was like, like the president was like, I'm the president. I'm going to drop fuck because I'm the president and I'm on Netflix. It's like, wow, okay. But yeah, it was just one of those things like, so people make movies and if Netflix likes it, they'll slap an N on it, pay you some, large sum and, people watch your movie on Netflix. But the thing is, like,
I don't care.
It's really, that's what it comes down to.
I don't know if, look, let them do whatever investigations, and I understand the politics. Okay, I see Tulsi Gabbard, as you said, is kind of like
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is, I think they're going to investigate Netflix for pedophilia or something like that. I understand the politics. You have to, you can't sit back and be like, libertarian, do what you want. You have to appear like you're doing and you're standing the moral high ground. Totally get it. Fine. Let him do all of that. But for me, at the end of the day, first of all, I don't have a TV license, so I can't watch live TV. Secondly, I don't have a TV. If I don't have Netflix, I don't get any entertainment apart from YouTube, right? And YouTube is very entertaining, but it's not the same. So I'm not in a position right now to get rid of my YouTube. And as I say, I have 4 people on my accounts. One of them needs it to teach English in Russia for some reason. So
So today, class, we're gonna watch Cuties.
No, that would be in French. So
In English dub. No,
in English.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
no.
so I this entire thing is possible. The only reason I was entertained because when I saw Abba and Preach, you really should check out Abba and Preach. They're really cool. When I saw that they did the review and I saw that this was the main topic, kind of doing the YouTube algorithm pleasing,
Right.
I was very tempted to be like, oh fuck, I should do a review just to get the views on my channel. But then I said it's not worth it. It's not. I'm not going to subject myself to that just to get the views.
And that's
on
the
my
thing
channel.
is like I said earlier in the show is we, now that we have some more context, we've seen these reviews, we're kind of knowing like, okay, it wasn't as bad as everyone thought it was going to be, but it's also kind of not as,
It's not good either.
it's not really as good as people would want it to be. So I'm kind of like, okay, and then I just saw it and I was like, it's not even like, it's just no. I just want to watch. It's not like a moral like I could imagine. It's just nah. Like
Yeah, it's
because I mean, if someone's like said, I don't want to watch this, I'm curious. I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe. I mean, if I fuck you later, if it's like a person I'm dating or something,
someone
maybe.
over 18, over 18.
Over 18. Jesus Christ. I just thought of that. I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, what are you saying, Amos? Oh my God, it's just getting spicy.
No. And just be like, yeah, and it should be like, oh, this is horrible. But yeah, I totally wouldn't do that. Would you have a kid that would do that? No, totally not.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say that. Like, if you go online and you look at these dance mom videos of these young girls on YouTube wearing the same type of provocative outfits, doing those same type of provocative moves, the twerking and the ass jiggling and whatever. That shit is plastered all over YouTube.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing with what was I thinking about? That's the whole thing with I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of it is. The kind of dance troupe girl recital sort of thing. That shit is disturbing. It doesn't sit.
It's
well
like the same thing with beauty pageants.
Right, like the kiddie beauty pageants
like
stuff.
Those same right wing, kind of southern kind of, moms that are like taking their daughter, what was that reality show?
Boo Boo, something Boo Boo, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck was her name again? Betty Boo Boo, or I know the one you meet. It's this young kid, and her mom is putting her up in all these beauty pageants, and she's got the attitude.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo. That's
Honey
right.
fucking Boo Boo. There it is.
So here comes Honey Boo Boo.
She's a kid, but yeah, Honey Boo Boo. Thank you, Brian.
So yeah, Honey Boo Boo was it was like this
shit television.
Yeah, and I loved it. What South Park did to it was hilarious.
South Park totally crucified it.
Like, oh, James Cameron dove deep enough and found the bar, and he's raising the bar.
We can't wait for what Trey and was it Matt do for 2020, because this is going to be the one shit show for the season.
Just everyone dying. Anyway, so Honey Boo Boo was just like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily like right wing or anything, but like you're thinking like, kind of that southern sort of feel. So there's a conservative sense. There's almost like there's right wing kind of in it, not directly, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get through it.
So on one hand, those same people that are like, yeah, Honey Boo Boo, like they're watching trash Honey Boo Boo do these beauty pageants and all this stuff. And then they see cuties go, they have their outrage, and it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
What are you missing here? And again, I just don't care.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I didn't like it even when they had the gay kid, or the little boy who was dancing in the gay clubs. I didn't like that either.
Desmond is amazing.
I didn't like that either.
Desmond was not amazing.
And the adults were cheering it on. I do not like that kind of stuff at all. That stuff creeps me the fuck out. But I can't say that it doesn't exist off of Netflix and these types of things. It's out there, and that's very disturbing.
So I look at that and I'm just,
Yeah, quite right, Brian. It is good content for the show. We get to bitch about it for 20 minutes.
like, how much can we virtue signal as libertarians about how much we don't care?
Yeah, you can't get 20 minutes is plenty, man. And we discussed it before as well when it first came out. So
Yeah, and we were like, hey, we got plenty to go on.
With that said, is it time to wash your balls?
I think so.
I think so too.
Wash your balls. No,
I can't even say ladies and gentlemen because ladies don't have balls. Oh no, I can't even say that anymore. That might be fucking transphobe.
Now, just a quick little message, a little bit of housekeeping. We of course thank everyone for joining us on the show. We ask that, if you do like the show, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on all your favorite podcast platforms, leave a like, leave a comment, share it with a friend that you think will enjoy it, or a family member. And of course,
of age. Are we PG-13 or are we like 18 and older?
We are not suitable for children, but we are not explicit. That's the two different settings they have for
so
YouTube.
PG-13. I think we're PG-13 probably.
Yeah. So yeah, and then of course, we have the two different ways you can support us beyond just all the free ways. You can, of course,
let's see.
What? Medieval Mead product of Wales.
Yeah, Brian is asking me in the chat what I'm drinking. So
you can of course check out tacticalsoap.com to use the coupon code 10KRUM to get 10% off all their soaps, which is good for your balls. Don't like hit your balls with them or something. We just mean overall chemically that they don't mess with your balls. So keep that in mind. You get 10% off and a kickback goes to us. Subscribestar is a website where you can support us on a monthly basis. Subscribestar.com/shitlord-preachers. It's where you can support us anywhere from $1 to $25 a month. And of course, shout out to Edmundo on that. So do check all those out. Of course, links all below. So back to the show. All right.
Yes. Yeah. So let me fill you in a little bit about what's going on out here in the UK. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So next topic is the UK.
Yeah, I think we've spent enough time on the pedophiles. So they don't deserve any attention. So apart from the 20 minutes that we've given them,
we'll throw that in the wood chipper, as everyone likes to say now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gentlemen, that I'm drinking mead, as these guys are saying, it's honey wine. So it's wine, alcohol that's brewed from honey. It's the oldest alcoholic drink in mankind.
Do you ever occasionally get a bee in there?
No, not recently. But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff going across in the UK, and I kind of touched on this a little bit with you. We are on our way to Brexit in the UK with the European Union. So we're divorcing the European Union. We're presently in what's called the transition phase. And and we have what's called a withdrawal agreement, which was basically a treaty that was kind of drawn up by the Parliament and agreed upon by the EU. And it kind of outlines most of the bullet points of, how we're going to deal with each other and stuff like that. Now, the big points out here is one, the fisheries. Right now, the UK is not allowed to fish in our own waters. It's mostly controlled by the French and I think the Scandinavian countries. The next big issue is Northern Ireland. So Republic of Ireland is in the EU. Northern Ireland, which is a part of the island of Ireland, is going to be with us. And they're concerned about people smuggling goods and stuff like that through Northern Ireland into Ireland without paying the taxes and the duties and stuff like that. So we had something called the backstop with Northern Ireland, which basically meant that Northern Ireland will kind of maintain similar relationships with the mainland Republic of Ireland, just so there wasn't any kind of conflict. That was part of the agreement. So anyways, the EU is not playing ball. They want us to have what they call an even playing field, which basically means they don't want us to have a competitive advantage with taxes, with tariffs, with subsidies, with all the things that a nation state does to try and help their industry.
Right.
So what ends up happening is Boris Johnson has basically decided that fuck the withdrawal agreement. We don't actually have to do what we said we were going to do in this withdrawal agreement. And what the irony of ironies of this is the legal precedent that he's using to pull this off was actually a precedent sent by a Remainer, somebody who didn't want to leave the EU. They took the UK government to the Supreme Court in the UK and basically said, Parliament is sovereign. They do not have to do what the people want, which is the referendum that we had.
Right.
Parliament has to pass an act to implement that which the people say they want to have. That same law that they were using, that same precedent that they were using to try and keep us in the EU, Boris is now saying, well, we don't have to obey the international treaty. Parliament is sovereign. Unless we pass a law that actually says we agree to all of these terms, we can do what the fuck we want. And they're citing, the woman's name is Gina Miller. She's the one who did this court case. They're citing her court case as precedent as to why we could basically tell the EU to fuck off. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a comedy for these people at the end of the day. So I did think that was an interesting tidbit for people, who wanted to know what was going on. Yeah. You all right? You holding in there?
Yeah. Man, what else is what we didn't touch on? Now,
what's that?
I think I want to take this as a little bit of a side topic, just more of like, get our take on it. Joe Rogan. So everyone, I didn't even know this happened already because I just started noticing it in the last week. Joe Rogan's in Texas already.
Oh, is he in Texas already? I didn't know that. They finished the studio then.
Have you? So let me actually just pull this up here. That'll actually be easier. So I'm gonna pull up YouTube and I'll just show you like a couple of shots that people have had of his what the heck? His studio. So yeah, he moved over to the new studio. They're doing live shows and everything. I'll turn off the audio just so it's easier that way.
You'll have to describe what you see for the listening audience.
Yes.
Oh, funky.
Yeah, so people have been kind of describing this. So it's this red background. This is with one of his episodes with Ron White. Basically, yeah, there's this background. It's a red background, but it's got some like weird sort of design in the background. I don't know how you... And look, it's like he's in a capsule.
That's pretty cool.
I think, and many other people on the internet think, it's kind of shit almost.
Really? They don't like it.
Because it's not this open feel kind of, like he had it was more open. It gave you the studio vibe. This is like they're kind of locked in there. I don't know if he's doing this because of COVID or what.
Is it a bunker? Is he? It
kind of looks like
he's in a bunker.
It looks like a bunker, and I'm just kind of like, there's a way you could do a bunker vibe, I guess, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right, thing to do. But anyways, I saw this, and they're in Texas. He's doing all the shows and stuff. I think they're following the same procedure. They screen for COVID for their guests. They come over, they do the show and all this stuff, but. Man, it just does not look like it. I feel for a new studio with his money.
Yeah.
He could have done something that really popped or just stayed with the basics, make something really simple. He kind of had this whole, he had like I think on one side it was like a metal American flag or something. Not that it has to be that, but just like sort of the rustic look. That's kind of the thing now is, brick, some old retro looking vintage photos or something, like just keeping it kind of, keeping it light. But he's just, straight up like sci-fi, red bunker. I'm like, I think that's a bit, But besides that, his spot, we didn't talk about his Spotify thing that happened.
Yeah, we did. Well, the missing episodes. Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have more to add to that, yeah, feel free.
Oh, no. I actually saw a really funny post. Someone was like, you guys think Joe Rogan gives a shit about what anyone thinks about him? He has all the money in the world to not care about his Spotify deal probably looking kind of sketchy because all these episodes are gone. He's getting paid. You think he cares? You think he gives a shit that he gets to build this weird looking studio? Doesn't care what anyone thinks about it. He made it, because everyone's still going to watch it. People are still going to listen to his podcast. Do you think he gives a shit to really do anything with the money he has? He's at such a level that he could not crash anything, but he could just kind of, do whatever the fuck he wants.
Pretty much.
I mean, I saw that studio and I almost thought PewDiePie.
It does have a little bit because he does the black and red.
The black and the red with the little swirly looking designs and stuff.
The bro fist and stuff.
Yeah. But no, I just saw that and I thought, okay, well, I mean, unfortunately, he hasn't had any guests on that I really want to listen to.
Right. Did you listen to the Miley Cyrus one?
No.
Okay. I didn't listen to it.
I've heard a little bit about it. I've seen some clips that will pop up, like trying to get me to watch it. And I thought, maybe, I don't know, some other time. I don't know. I mean, I think just because she's such a wreck of a person.
Yeah.
Growing up in like middle school and stuff, I know a buddy of mine and I had like this crush on her because she was like this cute chick she's literally my age.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, she's our age, man. Yeah, I could totally, little middle schoolers with their dreams and such. And then, then the whole thing just kind of like, I mean, I think I was talking about this with someone about like, Wrecking Ball. I was talking to someone about how like not only like there's the wall, like you and I talk about the wall, like the wall is basically a point where women tend to see a plateau and then a decline in their sexual marketplace value.
Yes.
And with the stuff that people do to themselves, whether it's drugs, alcohol, just a very messy lifestyle, and in some cases maybe even just like shitty plastic surgery or something. It's like a woman basically goes, not only am I going to hit that wall, I'm going to crash into it way too early,
right, and
try to go through it and hit a second one if I try hard enough before I'm 35 or some crazy shit.
Right.
This is just that's kind of the funny something I talked about. So and I just thought, this is the thing, is like, this is what happens. So now seeing that and like, oh, here's Miley Cyrus where she is, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, she's pretty messed
that middle school fantasy just flew away in the wind.
Dried up pretty quick. I'd agree.
We've got C2113 in the chat. Maybe the real wall was the one we built along the way. Another quick thing. I was going to talk to you, but I mean, it's about this, but I figured I'd just tell everyone anyways. It's so, I moderated a discussion on Wednesday.
Right. I think you were telling me a bit about this.
So, a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine, Kyle, another mutual, I guess, someone we know, mutual acquaintance, Ken, basically did this discussion on, I moderated a discussion on them talking about sort of the two different approaches, like the spectrum of approaching how to deal with COVID. So Kyle was more on the side of more of the heavy-handed approach. lockdown, close borders, enforcing quarantine, mask mandates. In some cases, like even some kind of social distancing mandate.
Right. Mandatory. Okay.
With fines to enforce it.
Okay.
Basically kind of a hard, essentially authoritarian lockdown for a couple months to get cases down to triple, if not double digits for daily cases.
Right.
And so that you can effectively quarantine people, limit the spread and all this, versus what kind of the US is doing. And really what Ken was kind of proposing was actually less restrictive than what the US has done. No restrictions, no travel restrictions, quarantining only the old people, no mask mandates, nothing.
Okay. Just have it on voluntary.
If that.
Okay.
Just nothing. Oh, people are getting sick. Go out. Do whatever.
Okay.
Matt, I said, what about mask recommendation? He goes, maybe. Okay. I said, recommendation? Just, hey guys, it's a good idea to wear a mask. Man, maybe. Like, what? And I was like, this is some it was like, no ban on interstate travel. Quarantine would purely be on a city by city basis. But then I was like, okay, because I was really trying to provide that sort of a bit of like slack to like, okay, like seriously though, even if with hindsight, you know what's happening right now.
Yes.
Would you lock down even a city? Well, it depends. Okay, so really, it all depends. It's all whatever. Like you wouldn't do anything.
You don't really have a position.
Well, the position eventually came down to like absolute, almost a libertarian, like a purely libertarian, just free for all.
Right.
Do what you want. We shouldn't have closed anything. We shouldn't have restricted anything. We shouldn't have put any.
Right.
And I was like, that's the worst case scenario that they projected, where 1 million people are dead.
Yeah. If you did absolutely nothing. And what I don't like about these conversations, you can tell me how it went. Everybody is approaching it now from the position of hindsight. Everybody.
Well, the thing is, I offered hindsight to kind of see the positions.
Yeah.
And even with hindsight, it was just all open. Now, the thing is, because of the hard lockdown, some countries actually did this.
Yes.
And some managed to make it work.
And some didn't. Like Brian is saying, like Sweden never locked down. So.
Oh, and I know they never, yeah, because they didn't lock down, and it really depends. But it depends. There's a lot of things. There's culture. There's just the way people move around.
Yeah.
Are you a crowded country? Do you have a lot of enclosed areas with a lot of public gatherings?
Correct.
There's a lot of things. How does it deal? Are most of your people outdoors more often or indoors more often? There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I would agree.
But there's something going on in the U.S., even with the adjustments to, the CDC, obviously there was comorbidity and all this stuff. Even with all these adjustments, it's still spreading. And we're possibly due for a huge resurgence come winter.
Probably.
Where we could have, super lockdown 2.0.
We are on the verge of that out here in the UK. In the area that I'm at, which is the Rhondda Valleys in Wales, the cases have been spiking, and there is talk that they may lock down just these towns, like a couple of towns that are in this valley, right? Caerphilly, which is a city just north of Cardiff, they just went back into lockdown. I think Yorkshire in England went into lockdown. So they're doing it by city basis, right? The problem is the data does not reflect the need for the lockdown, because as much as the cases are spiking, And a lot of that has to do with doing more testing, right? So you do more testing, you're going to discover more cases. It doesn't mean that all of these people are showing symptoms. And more importantly, it doesn't mean all of these people are going to need hospital care. And worse than that, it doesn't mean that all these people are going to die. Our hospital admission is nothing. I don't think we're having anywhere close to the types of admissions we're having. And the death rate, the D rate, is also on the decline. Those who were susceptible to the disease early on seem to have passed through. Now, what people do not seem to understand about these measures, the goal of these measures is not to keep you from getting sick. These measures are not supposed to keep you from ever encountering COVID in your existence. These measures are in place to provide herd immunity where the entire population does get exposed to some degree at a rate which the healthcare system can handle the amount of cases.
Flattening the curve.
This has nothing. Out here in Wales, we have the whole, we've just introduced the mask mandate thing. So like when I go to the gym on Monday morning, I have to wear a fucking mask. I have to wear a mask into the gym, to my workout station. When I'm there, I could take it off, do my exercise. If I move across, I have to put the fucking mask back on to get weights. And it's a fucking shit show. And a lot of people, especially the elderly, I get it. They're scared. They're susceptible. Those are the ones you got to quarantine. But for the vast majority of us, if you're under 70, you're in relatively good health, no underlying conditions, you have to get it. You have to get this thing. And that's the only way we're ever going to get out of this nonsense. And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
There was the whole thing with, I'm not trying to become, get all outraged because the whole, kill grandma argument.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it seems a bit apathetic when I talk to people. I'm like, well, old people like these. There's like, well, everyone talks about how all these old people are dying. They were going to die anyways. I'm like, yeah, and I'm going to die anyways at some point too. Doesn't mean I should die now.
Yeah, I agree.
That was the kind of the thing. I was like, so, okay. So people who have like 10, 15 years more left of life, or maybe just 5-10 years.
Yeah.
They die now because this thing, with complicates with age and all this stuff and makes it a lot worse. That doesn't justify why. I think that doesn't justify where it can just like go crazy, and just spread like wildfire. Let's just let it spread. But that's actually I think a more reasonable position. The masks, the quarantine, and all this to slow the spread.
Yes. Yeah.
That I can actually agree with. And the thing is, right now with the US is we slowed it kind of.
I think y'all have pretty much slowed it.
So basic from what I saw was like, so March comes around and it starts to kind of go up. March, April, May, June-ish, and then it kind of starts doing one of these.
Yeah, tapering.
It kind of came down around. And then June, July, and coming into August, and now September, we kind of opened up again. So then it's kind of going up again, starting to kind of do this. Then winter comes.
Yeah.
Is it going to just kind of stay here, or is it just going to go up again?
The reason why that was inaccurate and why most of the figures are inaccurate is because y'all ramped up testing. So what y'all had back in early March and all these other things, you didn't have enough tests, so you didn't know.
No.
So I know that. Yeah, I know the image you're showing us, but in truth, if the data is semi-accurate, you're actually even though it looks like it's going up, that spike, that difference from your high in March to where it is now, doesn't mean that y'all didn't have the cases. It's just it wasn't being tested. So
true. No, I get that. So they have to, but yeah. So this is the concern is now that we're kind of slowly reopening.
Yeah.
And mask mandates are in place in most of the country.
Yeah.
I actually did a little. Where was it? So one weekend, I went to go see. I told you that I think it was a couple weekends ago. I went to go see Spike Cohen in Iowa and Nebraska. Yes. Iowa doesn't have a mask mandate.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, it's kind of spaced out. I'd imagine not.
But I just thought, okay, well, I mean, it's whatever. To me, I'm not too worried. But so yeah, it's just that thing. I'm wondering, like, so where do we get a proper understanding of what the disease, how far it spread, and all this?
testing. It's all about
Well, I know
everybody
it's all
has to
about
get
testing. So
tested.
do
Yeah.
so do we understand it as, is it still spreading? Are the numbers growing? Is it something to be concerned about? Are there more people? Because they said, I think what was the whole thing? More tests, but the lower death rate and all that.
That's what we see now. So even out here, it's spiking, but our hospital admission is at an all-time low, and our death rate is an all-time low.
And so this is like that weird place. What do we do? Where do we go from here? Do we try to continue to limit the spread? Does that mean if there's a resurgence with this increased testing that we go into like another light lockdown? Do we go into our harder lockdown? Do states shut down and then start actually enforcing quarantines to the point that, whatever happens?
Yeah, I mean, it all for me it would depend, especially out here, which is a national health service. So we have a nationalized hospital system. If we can't contain the hospitalization, the only time I would start to like reinstate any kind of procedures would be if the hospitals were at capacity and we couldn't have any more people. Then I would start
approaching capacity
approaching capacity. Then I would scale up the measures. I wouldn't go full lockdown. That doesn't make sense. That's not the goal. Is not to keep you from getting the disease. The goal is to maintain a even spread, basically.
Well, for the U.S., definitely. There are other countries where they could just stop the spread entirely.
And even in Sweden, where they didn't do a lockdown, they didn't have the constitutional right to do it, they still encourage social distancing.
Yeah. The thing, and then, and I'm glad no one is trying to use the Taiwan argument still. Like, Taiwan dealt with it. Yeah, it's a different country, different landmass.
And they're accustomed to that, to be fair, right?
Ports of entry are controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, if you only have like 2, maybe 3, two international airports. Right. I think only 2.
Yeah.
You have 2 international airports, if that. What do you do with that information? Oh, and like, so like for me, so like here in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul is the big international airport.
Yeah.
We have Duluth.
Yes.
But who the fuck flies to Duluth?
Only we do when we're going up north to our friend.
Yeah. But this is the thing.
Yeah.
I get your point. But the thing is, the same thing with Taiwan. Taipei, so TPE, so Taipei International Airport is Minneapolis. Right. There's probably a Duluth somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, one port of entry, not too many docks or anything to worry about. You lock down the country, you're good. They were doing what was it, that location tracing or whatever they were doing with the
contact tracing.
Yeah, they did that. They were one of the first to just do that right away. Yeah.
They were scanning the temperatures as you got off the plane back in January. They were very much ahead of the curve. Yeah, I agree.
And then by May, life was back to normal.
Yeah.
And here we are. And there you are.
Yeah.
It's just kind of this. I mean, it's not politics. As bad. Yeah, but it's becoming kind of a lingering thing too. Like there's because there's still that sort of, we're still conscious of that chance of a resurgence or a new lockdown, and of course the economic effects haven't gone full swing yet.
Yeah, we still haven't seen the full result of all of that. No, I agree with that.
And then of course there's the growing group of people that are realizing that everyone else in every other country who's dealing with this has done it a certain way. But one of the main things they've done is, okay, we're going to have to make some changes to put a lot of you out of work. Yeah. So we're going to take that burden and that responsibility and give you guys some money to live off of.
Yeah.
Because this is not like, I think at first I was kind of thinking like when the first stimulus came out, a lot of libertarians, and I was kind of drawn to that, was like, okay, this could be like, opening the doors to socialism or whatever.
Right.
But then the more I kind of realized, well, but the government did this to us.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're going to steal, if they're going to disrupt our economy like this.
and
We
force
should
you out
we
of work and close business. Yeah, if they're going to do that, they have a responsibility
well,
to
the
compensate,
thing
right?
with me is actually it's for me, it's more the disruption personally. It's not so much like the closing, because I told you, like, I was considered an essential worker and I worked through it. But
Yeah.
actually what's happened right now is I am in an oversaturated market of essential workers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I've told some people, I've kind of mentioned here and there. I'm an independent contractor that is involved with transporting goods.
Yes. Yes. Necessities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everyone else wants to do it. So
Yeah,
a
I get
typical
that.
day that should be really busy is kind of and a day that would be like, kind of decent, slow day that would be probably kind of decent, like just enough to get by,
Yeah.
is actually worse.
Right. Because everybody's jumped in on it. Yeah, I get that.
Everybody's jumped in on it. So I'm kind of like, okay, either we need a lockdown so that
No, no, but this is what we don't seem to understand. Like, even for me, like I'm not really working right now, so I'm kind of living on my savings. I'm doing a side project, but that's not making a lot of money. Well, that's not making any money at this point. So I'm thinking, like, okay, to hold things over, I'm gonna have to get a part-time job. You know, I'll fucking work at McDonald's. In fact, McDonald's would be great for me because I'm on a carnivore diet, so I could just like eat the burger patties and save on a meal, right? So it's probably great for me. Or work in a pub. I'd love to work in a pub. At least I get to meet people, get out the house, that kind of thing, right? There's no jobs, right? The economy is like completely shit. These people don't even know if they're going to be around in a couple weeks.
I've seen a couple places that would hire in all this, but
yeah, it's
it's
few and
not
far
like,
between. So everybody is jumping on the gig economy, and they're jumping on kind of your sector of business as well. And they're trying to find these niche things that are kind of pandemic proof, for want of a better word. I know, like, I got an Amazon delivery the other day from somebody who clearly needs a new van. Like, they're one of the private delivery drivers for Amazon. And you can see this person's probably been living out of this van. The thing showed up. I thought it was going to fall apart at my front door.
yeah.
But he needs the work. He needs the money. Amazon is doing well.
And this is the thing too, is like, okay, sure, not to take a side, but here in because of the so right now, Governor Walz, Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, he was again granted another month of an extension of his emergency powers.
Right. Okay.
And while the Republicans are sitting there kind of like, too powerful, too powerful, too powerful, I'm thinking, okay, I get that. I get that. Yeah, totally. What do you have to offer the citizens?
Right.
So while you guys are over here debating power, no power, power, no power, you've got, on one hand, I'm a libertarian that's kind of like, fuck government. They can't solve anything. But at the same time, I cannot deny the pragmatic need and necessity, especially in a situation like this,
Yeah.
to have something in place that is maintaining some order. So I'm kind of looking to them and kind of like, okay, you guys can't keep Minneapolis from, burning up.
Yeah.
Every other week. You're sitting in there arguing in your chamber about, the governor doing what he's doing, when you could be doing that, but also actually providing a solution. What could take over to kind of, whether it's relief or something to help the population. And you're continuing this lockdown, taking more out of our pockets and having no solution. So like, there's talk that basically Trump might have to sign an executive order for stimulus checks or something.
We'll see.
He did. Yeah, he did that to extend the unemployment benefits, and immediately the first thing was he might get sued.
Yep. Exactly.
And it's like, wait, do you care about what he's doing, or do you just want to sue him because he's Trump?
Well, at the same time, the Democrats don't want Trump giving people money and like easing the suffering, right? That's not a good selling point for them, which is why
votes.
Yeah, it's votes. If Trump takes care of people throughout the pandemic, he's kind of a shoe-in
Yeah.
For the election. So,
But yeah, this is so. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, Brian, I know that window, the shade doesn't come down. Unfortunately, I didn't know it was gonna come in this strong. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put on my light.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is the thing though, is realizing that, on one hand we definitely should criticize government in the way they handle this whole thing. But the bigger problem is they've created this problem and they're offering no solutions to fix it. And what's probably going to happen, we really, which I hope people could wake up to realizing that this doesn't have to happen, is people in power knowing they can do something but do nothing. They've created a situation that they do nothing to fix. And then once the problem gets too bad, they're going to dip into debt with our tax dollars to try to remedy the whole thing and kind of do something, but not fix it. And
I mean, that's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Especially even out here in the UK, we got all this stimulus money and stuff. I didn't get fuck all. But there's a lot of talk about property taxes going up next year, estate taxes, so like the death tax going up next year, VAT going up next year, one whole set of things.
How about they just keep it the same because that's their problem, not yours?
I mean, I would love to say that. It's like, look, I didn't get any fucking benefits from the COVID money. My taxes should not go up. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with COVID and everything else.
The individual and all that.
I mean, speaking of Trump and his election, we got about 10 minutes left. I have to touch on this. The Trump has been nominated again for the Nobel Peace Prize. What say you?
Doesn't deserve it. He didn't do enough drone attacks.
Compared to his predecessor, you're probably right.
There was a Babylon Bee article about that one.
I'm sure it is.
Trump nomination for the Nobel Prize was taken away because he didn't use enough drones on brown people or something like that. It was just like, whoa, savage.
I mean, to contrast it with Obama, this is how political these fucking organizations are. Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize 2 fucking weeks into his presidency.
Oh, that was the nuclear disarming or something, right?
Right. He discussed de-escalation of nuclear proliferation, and of course he was reaching out to the Muslim world, basically the apology tour of America. Right?
And what then the Nobel Committee just came in their pants and were like, "Oh, let's give him one."
Yeah, pretty much. And in their words, he did not do the things necessary to qualify for the award. But they thought if they gave it to him, it would help him to accomplish the things that he talked about. In fact, when the chairman of the committee, Ger Ludstrad, I think is his name, he recently put a book out and he basically said that was a mistake. They should not have given it to Obama. Because as we know, controversy with Lebanon, Syria, the drone strikes, he did not live up to any of his expectations for peace whatsoever. However, our boy Trump, here's the criteria. To win the Nobel Peace Prize or to qualify for the Nobel Peace Prize, you have to do something to promote the solidarity of nations. So, the Fraternity of Nations tried to negotiate deals or peace treaties and stuff like that to help nations get along. 2, you have to reduce standing armies. Or presence of troops in particular areas and stuff like that. And you have to do some kind of promotion of peace and this type of thing. Trump has done all 3, right? Maybe not to the extent we don't like. I mean, but he's pulled troops out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq, out of Germany. Of course, the military industrial complex doesn't like him because no new wars means no new dollars, no new bombs, all this other stuff. But he just had the peace deal with Israel and United Arab Emirates. He did the peace deal with Israel and Bahrain. And he's also brought Kosovo and I can't remember the other country. The 2 of them are now in discussions as well. And not even talking about North Korea. North Korea was last year's goodness. It's probably unlikely that Trump is going to win because he's not part of the cool kids table.
He got nominated twice, though.
This is the second time because the first one was North Korea, and North and South Korea are kind of talking right now. But yeah, he's definitely done more for peace in the world than anybody else at this point. He's probably not going to get it.
And then a bunch of articles started coming out saying how they need to cancel the Nobel Prize.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So once Trump got nominated, they're all like, no, we need to get rid of this. Oh, we should put Trump in the UN then. We could finally get rid of that fucking, shit stain.
Make him Secretary General.
Yeah, let him burn it down, man. Fuck. Talk about a useless organization.
We have a huge world, okay? Many, many countries, many, many people.
This is the best world ever.
Best world that I've ever seen. I've worked with a lot of planets. This is the best planet. There's many, many aliens that not really good people. They're not sending their best. They're bringing spaceships. They're bringing phaser guns.
Space aids.
Space aids. Some of them maybe are Vulcans, but not all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'm just like mixing all this sci-fi shit, but
that would be pretty funny though. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The media is shitting themselves. Right, and they're basically calling the Nobel Peace Prize a scam and all this other stuff.
It's like your TDS, is just going wild. Just what? He's getting nominated. We gotta cancel. Like, okay, so he just shows up and like, okay, how can I get nominated for an Oscar?
I think he won an Emmy, didn't he, for his TV show?
For The Apprentice. Now they're probably going to cancel it. Someone should reveal that, do an op-ed on it, and be like, why do they need to cancel the Emmys?
Yeah, maybe not him, but maybe the team or something might have won a thing. But yeah, no, it's as they always said, if Trump were to come out in favor of air, the Democrats would hold their breath. It's just such derangement, just such insanity at this point. But I think he deserves it. I cannot think of anybody else more deserving than Trump at this point in terms of world peace. And I have to say, what's the good thing about it is he's not partisan enough to keep the machine going, to keep the war machine going. So, he's not invested in Obama's peace treaty or Bush's peace treaty or whatever deal was made before and stuff like that. He's actually the best guy to clean up the Middle East because he's not invested in any side, really. And I think that's pretty cool, I have to admit.
I'm just imagining. We need to fix the Middle East. There's a lot of oil there. I know all about oil. I use it for my skin.
I use it for my tan.
I use it for my tan. You guys have seen it. You talk about it a lot. A little bit too much. You talk about it a lot.
But yeah.
Oh, I should work on a Trump impersonation. Anyways.
You should.
So, what else?
What are your views on that then? Do you think he deserves it? Because a lot of people are shitting on him and saying he doesn't deserve it.
Okay. By their arbitrary and interesting criteria for winning a Nobel Peace Prize, and of course, including someone like Obama to win it, why not?
Right.
That's kind of where I am. Not a yes, not a no, but kind of a why not? Like, it would definitely, like, I mean, on the grand stage of just looking down history, it's not really that bad. I mean,
it's not that bad. Are you saying they could do worse?
You could do a lot worse. I mean, they've actually put, like, what was his name? Some guy that like pioneered modern day, radical Islamic terrorism or something. Some guy.
Okay.
There was this like Arabic guy that won it, and he was like one of the pioneers of just modern day, sort of Islamic terrorism and all this stuff. And I was whoa.
I think I remember that. I think I remember something about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's is it an attack on his religion? Yeah. Maybe a little, but it's just that thing. It's like, I mean, the UN has Saudi Arabia on their Human Rights Council. the Soviet Union was part of the Security Council. It's just all these things kind of just happen, and it's like,
yeah, China is sitting on the Human Rights Committee of the UN.
yeah,
It's a
and I
complete
get,
shit show.
I've heard a little bit people kind of, say, well, it kind of rotates. Yeah, I think you should have some people you don't rotate in there though.
Yeah, if you appear to be clear human rights violators, you should be disqualified from the position.
But
hey Tom, welcome to the chat.
Wow, finally done to call up cock. Oh man.
Sounds good. Call. Sounds good. Be sure to give us the highlights, man, for next week's show.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're pretty good on all that.
Coming up on time? We
are coming up on time. So
fantastic.
Any final thoughts, for the show?
No, I think we did well. We hit the big ones. There wasn't very much going on this week, to be fair. It was kind of quiet.
Compared to a few months ago, it beats COVID.
Yes, we actually have other things to talk about. The conventions are done. The rioting is kind of coming to an end. There's not. Yeah, it seems that way.
Watch it just start escalating as we get closer and closer to the day.
Now I'm watching
I'm saying like leading up to the day, and then the weeks after, if not months.
Yeah. I think there's some big protests that's planned for the White House in the coming weeks.
Yeah, let's just not hope those months turn into years.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But other than that, there's not been a lot of news. So to be, thankfully we had Mulan. Thankfully we had, cuties. We had these things to talk about. I think we did well. Hopefully next week we get a couple things as well.
All right.
So bringing it home.
We love that everyone, of course, has been joining us. We had up to like 8 or 9 viewers, which is great. And I saw a bunch of chatting going on between some people. But if you guys would like to support the show, there's a couple different ways you could do that. Subscribing to the YouTube channel is one. Leaving a like, leaving a comment if you'd like, but also share the show as well as any other of our episodes that you could also check out in our library. Share those with people you think will enjoy it. And also check us out on podcasting platforms. But if you want to go a step above that, we have Tactical Soap. TacticalSoap.com offers a variety, I think, so far 6 different soaps. They're basically 2 sets of the same similar product lines. Smell great, clean great, great value for what you're getting. Plus, they're very good biochemically, that they keep your balls working good.
Endocrine disrupting.
No, chemicals. You don't have a lot of that. You're not having some Dove cube of whatever soap that's made from things that don't exist in nature. Well, yeah. But the thing, and then when you enter in the coupon code 10K RUM, that's just 10K RUM, that gives you a 10% off on all your orders, as well as that kickback goes to us. Now, Subscribestar is another way. That's probably the best way if you want to support the show. Subscribestar.com/shitlord-preachers. That's where you can go. Of course, links below, where you can subscribe to the show with a monthly pledge with $1 per month, all the way up to $25 a month. By the way, shout out to Edmundo, our #1 supporter on the show. That gives you monthly to give us a monthly pledge that gives you all sorts of perks, shout outs, mentions in our videos, access to content like our Raw Take series, access to our Discord, things like that. And of course, more perks to come as we get more people. So that is on Subscribestar. So we want to thank everyone for joining us in the show today. Lots of good messages that I'm seeing in the chats. A lot of good conversation going on, outside of just the normal conversation we're having. Like, they're having a whole different conversation over there in the chat.
Brilliant.
Which is good.
On you guys.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Of course, we will see everyone on Tuesday.
Yes, for our special guest.
Check that out.